Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, welcome to a new video. Today we're talking all about sensory play. I'm very excited because I haven't done a sit down video with you guys for what feels like forever. I do aim to do one of these every Friday for an upload, but sometimes I'm just not feeling it. There's nothing really that I think is inspiring to talk to you about or beneficial, but here we are today. We're talking about sensory play. I have only just recently touched on this with the boys. I'm very late to the party, I know, but I've been wanting to do it for quite a while and we just haven't had the tools and the things. But yeah, for a couple of months I've been using these trays that I found in Target that were like $5 each, red trays, and they were great, but they just weren't for me. I needed something else, so we got hold of the sensory table from IKEA, which has been sold out for ages and ages. I think had I been able to get my hands on it earlier, I would have started this earlier, but we finally got it. Paid double the price than what it's worth, but we have it and I'm loving it, and I'm really enjoying doing these new activities with the boys, and I think they are. I'm not gonna lie, I've been very intimidated about trying it because I just imagine that it could be really messy and really overwhelming and just so much things that you could do, and I just didn't know where to begin, but it doesn't have to be. So I hope this video helps some people that may feel that way or just don't know what it is or just don't know where to start. I'm just going to show you how we started, what we started with, what we've done, what it is in case you don't know, and the benefits of it, and kind of where we get our inspiration from. So that's what this video is going to be about. I hope you'll stick around and watch and enjoy, and I really encourage you to try it. And I wish I had done it with the boys earlier, especially when they weren't crawling or walking. I think that would have been such a nice way to connect with them, and I really just didn't even know about it, to be honest. I didn't have a clue what sensory play even was, and I'm still learning now. I know a little bit, but there's a whole world of stuff to learn out there. So yeah, I'm just going to share my experience, and I hope this encourages some of you to give it a shot. So yeah, I have 22-month-old boys, Henry and Jack, and I'd say we started sensory play about 2 months ago. I'm just trying to aim to do like one or two activities a week and see how it goes. And I mean, the more the merrier, but sometimes I'm just like not about the mess and the tidying up, or like even finding the activity and the things that you need. But it can be super cheap and super simple. It doesn't need to be extravagant, even though there are way more extravagant ideas out there. You can just focus on the easy, simple ones if that's more your vibe. But yeah, we're going to just touch base a little bit about what it is and the benefits of it, and then I'm going to get talking about things that we've done and what we've liked and what we haven't liked, and yeah, what I found fun and what I haven't found so fun. So let's get started. What is sensory play? So sensory play in its basic form is just learning about the world through our senses, through our sight, through our hearing, through feeling, through our taste, through our smell, all these things. And it gives babies or toddlers or children a chance to explore the world through these senses. It gives them an opportunity to discover, to explore, to learn different things, to problem solve. It gives them so many skills, and it's especially important for children and little ones because they are like sponges and they are soaking up every little thing all the time, all throughout the day, every minute of the day. So it's the best time to be doing these activities. Going on to what the benefits are for sensory play, as I said, it gives them a chance to discover and explore and investigate and things, but it's so much more than that. I don't really completely understand the science behind it. All I know is it's so beneficial for brain development, as the more they do these things, the more nerve connections they build or something like that in their brain, and the more nerve connections they have, the more that they know and understand. So it's very important for that, but it's also very important for language development. It gives you a chance to connect with your little ones, tell them about objects, tell them about colors, tell them about things that they're seeing or feeling or smelling or tasting that you wouldn't normally experience with your child in the day-to-day things that you're doing around the house. It also gives children the chance to explore brand new skills like cause and effect and gravity. For example, the boys at the moment just love scooping things and seeing how it falls out and how they have to twist their hand for things to drop. They love pouring water from one container to another. There's just so many things at each stage of development that they can learn new skills from. It's also really beneficial for fine motor skills. A lot of the time I'm trying to encourage the boys to work out how to use tongs and also spray bottles. They haven't quite got it yet, but they just love exploring those sort of tools and techniques with their hands. And I think as well it can be very good for gross motor skills. We haven't done anything particularly that has benefited that, but if you're outside maybe hunting for different materials and things in the woods, or I don't know, in a swimming pool, I think then you're going to be using a lot of gross motor skills as well. Above all else, I think my most favourite thing about doing these sensory activity is that it's just so open-ended. They can really do what they want with it. You can set up an activity and have a way that you see that you want them to play with it, and they may find a whole new way to play with the items that you've shown them. So it's just really interesting to see what they do and how they engage and how long they engage with certain things and what takes their interest the most, because I have definitely learned that some activities the boys have been there for nearly an hour playing, and others it's like 5 minutes and done. So it's been really interesting for me. Some of the things I thought I'd love, they really weren't that fussed, and maybe that will change in the next month or two and I can do it again and they're going to be way more interested. So yeah, it's just been really fun, and I hope you guys try some of these activities. But let's get talking about things that we have done together. I'm going to list 10 activities and I'll try and put some clips in of the boys playing with the things as I speak about them. First up is water play. Guys, I'll be honest, I gravitate to this all the time, and we do this way too much of the time, to be honest. The boys absolutely love playing with water at the moment, and we live in LA. It's very, very hot, so it just seems to be the most obvious thing to play with. But we have tried including ice as well and food colouring, just to make the water different colours, using scoops and different buckets and different containers to pour from. And you can also put things in the ice and freeze it, like little things that they can learn how to melt the ice and find the object. And you can also freeze coloured water to make different coloured ice. We haven't done that yet, we haven't worked with food colouring, but they just are so happy playing with water and playing with ice especially, they love. Next up is kinetic sand. This is the first time that I have ever touched this stuff, and let me just tell you, I could sit and play with this for like an hour. It's so fascinating to me. I don't understand how it is like it is, but it's just so fun. I do think the boys were slightly too young to play with this. They didn't really understand how it was moving, and I didn't really have the tools necessary for them to play with it properly. I think it would be great if you had some sort of containers to shape the sand with, and then take it out like you're at the beach making sandcastles and stuff, and they could really see how it forms and how it shapes. But they did enjoy this. They played with it for a fair amount of time. I'd say probably about half an hour. And it's really not that messy. If it does fall on the floor, you can easily sort of pick it up with another bunch of sand. It all sticks together. So bonus with that is it's really easy to clean up, and I think if you just put something down on the floor and put the table on top of that, at least you wouldn't have it all over the house. And if you have carpet or something like that, then you definitely need a surface that it's not going to stick to on the floor, if you can't go outside, that is. The next activity is going to be one that kept the boys engaged for the longest, and I can't believe it, but that is just pom-poms. Just regular, different sized, squishy, colourful pom-poms. When they first saw these, it was just like Christmas Day. I think they played for probably 50 minutes straight, just using spatulas, spoons, cups, anything that they could pick the pom-poms up and transfer them to another container. They absolutely loved it. I also tried experimenting with that and water, and again, that was even more fascinating. But what I will say is we're still working on telling the boys to keep the objects inside the containers, and these do end up all over the place a lot of the time, so it's a bit of a mess and a bit of a cleanup, but seeing them love it so much, it's definitely worth it. Please beware, these are choking hazard. The boys do try and put them in their mouth, but I'm kind of comfortable with it. I don't see them trying to actually eat it, but do be careful doing any of these sensory activities, because a lot of the stuff does contain things that are choking hazards. So you want to be monitoring your children at all times, or maybe just waiting till they're a bit older to play with certain things. Next up is the colander and pipe cleaners. The boys loved this. It was a very quick game, but they absolutely loved it for the whole 5-10 minutes that they played with it. And this is something that you could do if you're just having a hard time one afternoon and you need a quick activity. If you have more colanders than one, brilliant, because if they had their own one they would have played for a lot longer, but there wasn't much fighting. They both sat and played with this quite nicely, and yeah, it definitely kept them intrigued for a while, and it's something that you can quickly whip up very easily on a rainy day, or while you're making dinner, perhaps, just to get 5 minutes of peace. The next sensory activity we tried was spaghetti play. Now guys, you don't need to colour the spaghetti, but I did just because I thought it looked visually more pleasing for the boys, but it was a bit of an effort. I mean, it's easy, but I find things like this an effort, and especially if I'm wasting food, it doesn't really sit well with me. But you can easily colour the spaghetti by sectioning it into Ziploc bags, putting a couple of drops of food colouring in. I think you can add a bit of oil just to help it mix up. The more food colouring you use, the brighter the spaghetti is going to be. I was quite cautious with it. I didn't want colour everywhere, and I was worried that it was going to stain, but honestly it doesn't. You just rinse the spaghetti off after you've coloured it, put it in kitchen paper, dry it off, and then it's ready for them to play with. I think I left it for about an hour just to dry out, but yeah, I thought they would play with this more than they did. They just wanted to eat it, guys. I maybe would hold off doing this activity until like after dinner, or at a time when you know they're not hungry, because the boys were quite hungry at this point when we tried it, but they were definitely very excited by looking at it, and they were definitely very excited by the look of it, but they just didn't really want to touch it as much as I thought they would, and they were just, the minute they knew that it was safe to eat, they were just trying to eat it. But again, you could just use regular spaghetti here. You could even use dry spaghetti. I think that would be fun too, but I stayed away from that because I think that it can easily like scratch and hurt you if you snap it and stuff, so we haven't tried that just yet, but lots of options with spaghetti and just pasta in general. The next activity, which I was inspired with after we went to a farm locally here, is just rice play or corn play. We went to a farm that had these huge pits that babies could just sit in of any age, and they had corn kernels, dried corn kernels, and loads of them, and they had like buckets and Tupperware and things, and the boys could have sat in there for like the whole day. I think they absolutely loved it. They just sat in there scooping it, feeling it with their hands, and they were really in their element. So I tried to downsize that and just use containers of dried rice. The boys love it. Definitely, as I said before, I need to get hold of some more scoops and things for them to play with, but this is a very quick and easy activity to set up, and you could even use like a large container that you could just put your baby in to sit in. It can be slightly messy, but again, so easy to vacuum up. Next up is Play-Doh. I feel like this is probably one of the most popular sensory play activities. You can even make Play-Doh at home yourself with many different recipes that you can find online. I haven't been that creative yet, but we did buy some from Target. The boys liked it, but again, I think it's something that's going to come to be more interesting for them later. They did try to keep eating it, so that was unfortunate for me. We also didn't have many tools. I don't think I have any videos of them playing with this because I did it actually with a group of friends, but you can buy things to slice it with and things to make patterns in it with, so we need to get hold of some of those, and then I think we'll try it again. But I think as well, especially from like 2 and up, this is going to be a really good fun activity and quick and easy for you, especially if you have the ready-made Play-Doh. Next up, you'll see the boys here playing with the sensory trays that I mentioned that I got from Target. This is called oblique. I think I'm saying it right. It's basically just a mixture of cornstarch and water. There is a way that you can get the exact ratio right, and it's sort of like the kinetic sand in the fact that it looks different to how it feels, and I think with this it's supposed to look hard, but when you touch it, it kind of moves like a liquid. I think I kind of figured out the texture that it should have been right at the end when I was tidying it up, but I made it slightly on the runny side, and the boys absolutely loved playing with this. I think they must have played with this for again about 40 minutes, but they were eating a lot of it. So yeah, and this for me did get messy. It says that it isn't a messy activity, but I would definitely recommend doing this outside because it will dry on the surfaces that it goes on, and it's just hard to get rid of. So I would definitely do it outside and just hose down the areas that they've played with. But you can use this as like one of those activities where you hide animals, and then you can have a bin next to you of just water and sponges for them to capture the animal and clean it up. But I just shoved it in the tray and put a tray of plain water and spoons and whisks. Activity number 9 is called hook a fish. This again is a very simple activity, very quick and easy to prepare, good for a dinner time again, or when you just need 5 minutes to go off and do something. Using pipe cleaners, you just twist and turn each one to make them look like a little fish, put them in some water, and then use any item that you can to pick the fish up with. I was very surprised when I gave this to the boys because I thought they were just going to put their hands straight in the water and pick out the pipe cleaner with their hands, but they actually really tried to follow my lead and hook the fish with the straw. It didn't engage them for very long, I would say 10 minutes max, but nothing really to clean up, very easy to get out and set up. So I'd definitely do this again, and I'll maybe look into other activities that you could do similarly with pipe cleaners. Last but not least is the 10th activity, which we haven't tried yet, but I had every intention to do it until I came to doing it, and then I changed my mind. But that is water beads, or Orbeez as you might know them. These things we bought just a couple of weeks ago, and I was very excited, and even I was like intrigued by them. But the minute I showed the boys them in a bowl, they were so excited to see them, and I had just envisioned these going everywhere around my house. They're very bouncy, they're very small, they move so fast, and I really just think they're a very, very big choking hazard, and the boys would 100% put these in their mouth. So I'm going to hold off on playing with them, but I think when you know your child's at a stage of not putting things in their mouth all the time, this is a very good supervised activity. They feel so weird and so fun to play with. You could put a load of different coloured ones, or you could play an activity where you're colour matching some of the beads. So many ideas that you can do with these things, and so fun. But yeah, I'll keep you all posted because we haven't quite touched base on using those yet. And that is it, guys. I'm really excited to learn more about sensory play and do more. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments, and I'll do more videos when we and as we try new activities, and I'll let you know what we think of them. There's so many resources out there to find activities that you can do, and so many homemade ones as well. You don't need to go out and buy a load of stuff. If it's something that you want to do from home, at home, you can use a lot of objects that you would discard, like the insides of the toilet rolls or kitchen rolls, so many things. So definitely do some research and find activities online. But I am a bit of a mix of both. If I have the items at home, I'm going to play with it. If not, I'm going to go out and buy it. But don't feel too intimidated. It can be messy, but it doesn't have to be messy. There's a lot of activities that aren't messy, like some of them that I've mentioned that are easy to set up. And like I said, it's a really good opportunity to sit and connect with your children and play with them in a different way than you normally would with just a household toy. So the inspiration that I have got a lot of my activities from come from a few accounts on Instagram. One of the biggest ones that I follow, that a friend recommended to me, is Mabel's Kitchen. I'll put links to all the people below in the description. But this is great. She has a website that you can click on through her Instagram, and it has all the different activities, best activities for which age, what you need, how you set it up, and how you play with it. Very informative and really, really good if it's something that you want to get into. The next two are just people on Instagram that I have found just by random scrolling, and that is Abcdeelearning and Stay at Home Activity Mum. They post very easy, quick setup at home and DIY activities, as well as some more complex ones. They're really fun just to follow for tips and tricks with little toddlers and kids, so definitely go and check them out. And I think that's it, guys. That's everything. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you all give sensory play a little bit of a go, and let me know in the comments what you've tried. Maybe you've got some ideas for me, things that I haven't tried, and yeah, we're going to keep going with it. I'm excited to see what we do in the next couple of months. And if you liked this, check out some of my other vlogs, because I'll be definitely doing more sensory play in the future. So yeah, I hope you all have a lovely Friday, and I will see you next week. Bye, guys.